Welcome back to another episode of the Luxury Hill Rewatch here on the Filmaholic channel. I didn't really feel like wearing the headphones, so I hope you guys can hear me okay. But today we're going to be talking about 2 episodes in Season 4. We're almost to the end of Season 4. We'll be talking about episodes 19 and 20 here at the end of the season. The first episode, 419, is Ashes of Dreams You Let Die. It originally aired May 30th, 2007. Was directed by Michael Lang and written by John A. Norris. Now, the big things about this episode is really, it's Yearbook Day. So, that's the big thing. I guess the background of the episode is Yearbook Day. But it's also Lucas dealing with the fact that he knows Dan killed Keith. And how that's going to play into the rest of the series. Like, what is Lucas going to do about that? He comes in and he sees Karen and Dan kissing. That's the beginning of the episode, which we ended with that cliffhanger at the end of the last episode. So, real quick, raise this up. Yeah, we ended the last episode with those two kissing, and now Lucas walks in, sees them. He goes over and attacks Dan, hits Dan, and says he shot Keith. Dan leaves, but Karen is very upset about this. I mean, she was just kissing, and she probably has feelings for it at this point, or she does have feelings for it at this point. And her son keeps bringing up this thing that, the guy that she's having a child with was not murdered by who he was murdered by, and is blaming it on someone else. And it's a very upsetting thing for everyone. Obviously, it's true, but she doesn't know this. And later in the episode, she keeps trying to understand Lucas, but then ultimately, Dan convinces her that Lucas needs help, and she agrees. She wants to get help because she doesn't believe that Dan could do this, and that there's any proof. I think she actually thinks that Abby was made up by Lucas. But Lucas goes to the police too. Lucas goes to the police to try to get them to help with the situation, and ultimately they don't. They end up calling Dan, who's the mayor, who walks in and talks about it. He's like, let's just forget this ever happened. He doesn't want Lucas to get in trouble, sort of thing. Lucas has to take things in his own hands. He finds out that Deb has the gun, so he ends up going and getting Deb's gun, and is going to use that to scare Dan off at the end of the episode. Is what I guess that's what he thought. I'm not really sure what he planned on doing with the gun. If he did plan on using it on Dan, we know what's going to happen, but we'll get to that in a second. We have the stuff with Brooke and Chase. Chase comes back in this episode, and Brooke decides she's going to tell Chase how she feels in the yearbook, which is ultimately, I don't know why she would do that. I don't even know why. I understand she has feelings for Chase, that happens. But, she has a crush on him, all this different stuff. But they really weren't together that long. Chase came in the, it was episode 12 of the season, which would have been in April. And this episode here is June, so almost 2 months, I guess, that he's been in her life. Probably a little less. And how long have they actually been together? Their relationship, I'm just not a Brace fan. I'm not a big fan of Chase and Brooke, or Chase in general, especially at this point. At the time that I originally watched, I was a Brooke and Lucas fan, so I was very upset. But also it's funny because she's going to end up writing this in his yearbook, and they're not together after season 4 by any means. So she writes that in his yearbook. He doesn't write anything like that back to her. But ultimately, by the end of the episode, they do get together. Just, not a huge fan of it. Payton gets an internship in this episode for Sire Records, and she's going to be going to LA for the summer, where Brooke's parents are as well, so they're going to be spending the summer together, her and Brooke and Payton. But she has to tell Lucas about it. She does. Lucas is supportive about it. But part of her wanted Lucas to not be, I guess, and want her to stay there with him, and she's kind of scared of going off and doing this, which makes sense. For a teenager at the time, going off and kind of doing this. Now, there's another thing about, like I said, it is the yearbook episode, so Mouth finds out that Jimmy has been cut out of the yearbook completely. And this upsets him. She talks to Principal Turner about it, but, and I understand that Mouth's a good friend. But ultimately, especially with what we believe to be true in this episode, still with Jimmy killing Keith, they're not going to keep him in the yearbook. They're going to cut him out. Obviously, like look what he did. I mean, I don't even know if he hadn't killed Keith, that's still a huge like moment, and I understand why they did it. I understand what Principal Turner says. Right? They did it. They just took it out because they want people to remember that. But I also agree with Mal, especially the fact afterwards when we find out that Jimmy didn't kill Keith, and that he. So ultimately, what happened was he just brought a gun to school, then was locked in, and he ended up committing suicide. With that in mind, I definitely think they should have kept him in the yearbook. And I agree with Mal that it happened. Even though people have their own feelings about it, and like Principal Turner, who is right that no one's ever going to forget Jimmy Edwards, he deserves to be in the yearbook. And Gigi actually comes back in this episode and helps Mouth create a yearbook for Jimmy's mom, and he puts it out there for people to sign and write their favorite memories of Jimmy from the past in the yearbook. And Lucas is the first one to sign it, although it's very quick when he signs it, so I don't know if he just wrote his name or if he was like, I miss you, buddy, and then wrote his name or what, but it couldn't be much more than that. Haley loses her speech in this episode. Well, first of all, Nathan did that in the last episode where he came out and told the truth about the point shaving, so he loses his scholarship to Duke in this episode. That's over. His dream for that dies. And then after that, Haley loses her valedictorian speech. Principal Turner takes it away from her because of Nathan's actions, and people, I guess PTO people or whatever, calling in and complaining. Stupid. Definitely suing the hell out of that school if that was a real thing. It's one of those storylines that just like gets you mad, but you're like, this is so stupid. Like, I definitely can't see that this would ever be a real thing. If it was, like I said, sue the hell out of them, because you can't blame actions of another person, especially in this valedictorian speech where she definitely deserved it. Anyways, by the end of the episode, Nathan goes and talks to Principal Turner, and Turner changes his mind, and Haley's able to get the speech in the next episode. But that is one of the storylines going on in this one. And by the end of it, Nathan gets the gun. That's Deb's. He goes into Deb's house, which, by the way, is in this season more than any other season. But they do it on the show a lot. And like I said, I guess it's part of that thing where you're like, something happens. This has to happen for the storyline to move forward. Do we want to spend time in the episode of people opening doors? I don't know. But everyone walks into everyone else's house in this show. No one knocks. If they do knock, they knock once and then come in anyways. So that's why people are always walking in on other people doing stuff throughout, the entire episode. That's what I was getting to was him coming into Deb's house and getting the gun. I don't know why the door was not locked, but it is Deb, so who knows. But Lucas gets the gun, and at the end of the episode, he brings it to his house. Dan and Karen are having dinner, and Dan gets a text message, and he thinks it's from Abby, and he says, just a little problem I thought I'd taken care of. He goes to stand up, and Lucas is there, and there's this big confrontation with the two of them, as well as Karen, and about Keith. Lucas telling him to tell the truth, that telling Karen that was supposed to be Abby, revealing all that. It's too much for Karen to process in this moment, and she ends up collapsing, in which Dan's like, she could be he's telling the truth, she could be having a miscarriage, like, we need to take care of her, like, and Lucas is like, get out, that's my mom, and Dan goes to grab Karen or help her, and Lucas fires the gun. At the end of the episode, that's the end of the episode, and you don't know, you just know Dan went to help Karen, and Lucas shot. So, did he shoot Dan? Did he miss? How is this season going to end? Because we do know this is the end of the high school years. Anything can happen at the point. And I don't know. Like, at the time, I was wondering if he had shot Dan, and was Dan going to die, and was like, maybe that's what Dan. This is before I watched it. This is when I watched 419. It was like that. What Dan wanted was to die. So it would have maybe Lucas would have killed him, even if it was by accident, and then that's something Lucas has to deal with in the future. definitely glad that idiot idea was not done and that they didn't do that. But then we go into episode 420, the birth and death of the day. This episode aired June 6, 2007, and it's a huge episode. So Greg Prange obviously directed it, and it was written by Mark Schwahn. And the main thing about this episode is graduation. This is the graduation episode, and essentially the end of what we've been building up to, because the next episode, which is the season finale of season 4, and a mini-series finale in a way, is 2 weeks later. So like a lot of big stuff, cliffhanger-wise, is resolved in this one, and then we see like an epilogue in the next episode. But the episode itself takes place the day before graduation and graduation. So it starts the day before. Karen's in the hospital. Lucas confronts Dan again. And Dan's like, I want you to believe that I didn't do this. Lucas is like, you're never going to be in this kid's life. I'm going to make sure of it, no matter what. Dan also confronts Lucas because she knows that the gun's gone, and then she knows that Lucas knows about the gun, and she goes to the house to get stuff for Karen and sees the bullet hole, and she slaps Lucas, and Lucas tells her the truth, and she believes him. Which you see the crushing guilt rush over her in that moment, and that's something that her character will live with for the rest of her life, or at least until season 9, which we'll talk about when we get there, and how great of a scene that is in general with her and Dan. But just her having to live with the fact that if she had not tried to kill Dan, Keith would not have died. And I don't think he would have. I don't think Dan would have killed Keith if it hadn't been, well, if she hadn't started that fire, 100% he wouldn't have killed Keith, because that was the main thing about it, was that he wanted revenge on Keith. That's why he killed him. He thought Keith tried to kill him. So if that hadn't happened, he would have never went to school, never would have gotten an opportunity. Like, all of that would have changed. So ultimately, it's not 100% her fault. No, like, it is Dan's fault. It was his action. He's the one that killed Keith. But it also is Deb's fault. She is the one that did that. And that wouldn't happen if she hadn't done that. And I think her character knows that, and she lives with that guilt. But we really don't get into that in this season. I don't think that doesn't come back. That is a huge crushing guilt on her until season 6. And that's a really good moment when we get to that. Nathan also takes a job for Skills' dad at the factory in this episode, which is very not Nathan, but he's pretty much decided he's going to take a year off. He doesn't have the money to go to college, so he's going to take a year off, look after the baby during the day, and work at night. That is, of course, until he has a conversation with Whitey at the end of the episode, which Whitey has a conversation with Haley first, and makes sure that Haley is okay with going wherever Nathan needs to go for college. She is. Whitey ends up taking a job at a college about 3 hours away, so I've always liked to believe it's in the Greensboro area, since that's where I'm from. And that is 3 hours away from Wilmington, so that's where I've always connected with dots there, even though I know it's not like Greensboro, but I would say they're around that area. So he takes a college coaching job there and asks Nathan to play for him. Obviously, that's going to happen. So Nathan and Haley are now going to this college 3 hours away, though Whitey is going to be coaching that. And we find out in the next episode someone else will be going to that school as well, but I'll talk about that when we get there. So that's a little bit of hope there. Also, Haley's working on her speech in this episode and then delivers it at the end of the episode. Brooke tells Turner the truth in this episode about the exam, and how she's been feeling guilty, which ultimately ends good. Like, she ends up being able to graduate, and Turner even, in the next episode, lets Rachel graduate, even though Rachel's not there, but he doesn't expel her. Because of what had happened, he ends up letting it all go, and they both graduate, which is good and all this. And there's also a scene where Chase runs in and tries to stop her from getting expelled, and she's like, I love you for it, but you don't need to do this. And then ultimately that ends up with them telling each other they love each other, which at that point I'm like, do you really? Like, what is happening? I don't care about this relationship. But going back to that, this is something like I was telling you about in the last video where I don't need resolutions for everything. I don't need all the characters to be free of their guilt all the time. Like, I don't think she should have told her the truth. I don't think that needed to happen. Was it good for Rachel to actually be able to graduate? Yes, I am glad about that. And what we get from that in the next episode with her giving Rachel the diploma and their friendship in the next episode. All that's great. I'm not taking away from it. And ultimately, like, this doesn't like ruin the show for me or anything. I'm not like, I don't cringe when I watch it like I do some other things. But ultimately, it's something that I wouldn't have done and I didn't really care about. It was just like, because it's life. Like, would a person really do that? Would you risk at that point, the day before you're going to graduate, telling the truth and losing everything? I don't think so. And Nathan knew the truth about point shaving for Lucas's namesake and like all that, and him being his brother. I believe that, and I'm glad that happened. Like, that kind of stuff, like I'm for. This in particular is just decisions they make, Brooke makes sometime. And we'll talk about this one in season 8 too, with something that I absolutely hate. Yeah, I don't need resolutions all the time. Let's just let things happen, move on from it. Kieran has her baby in this episode. Lucas is there to help deliver it. Also in that scene, Dan comes in to watch the baby be delivered, which is, it's Payton, Dan, and Deb up there in this room, the viewing room, which is so uncomfortable for Payton. You can see it on her face and being in there. And I don't know at this point, because they don't ever have the conversation. This is another thing I'm not a huge fan of, and I wonder if there was any deleted scenes or any kind of discussion of whether this should happen. There's no scenes with Lucas telling Payton about Dan. And is it essential? No. Like, the season ends fine without that. But I absolutely would have loved to have a scene with Lucas talking to Payton about it, because Dan has been in Payton's life a little bit too. Like, you know, she used to date Nathan. She's obviously dating Lucas now, and he's the father of both of them. So she's like stayed over at that house with Nathan, you know, many times and seen Dan and whatnot. So it's like, I just wish they would have that conversation, because at this moment, I don't know if she knows the truth or not. I don't know if she knows that Dan killed Keith, or if she's just like, oh, this is an awkward situation with these two people that are divorced and not on good terms up here next to me. But Dad tries to get Dan out of there. He like throws his arm up because he has to see what's happening and let it, the crushing depression wash over him. And then after that, graduation starts. Before that, Lucas gets his novel. It was a present from his mom. His mom had his novel that he'd been working on put with a hard case on it, hardback, and Haley gives it to him, and we have a flashback to the pilot, the Julius Caesar quote, there's a tide in the affairs of men, which I really like. And a fun fact, I'm pretty sure that Haley, Beth and Julie Lenz, actually, this is one of the things that she took when the show ended, was the Julius Caesar novel, not Lucas's novel, but she took that, and I thought that was really cool. And then it'll also come back later in the show, in season 9, the Julius Caesar stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, that happens. The graduation starts. You can see everyone graduate, Beth and fall down. It's really times like these by the Foo Fighters play, which I'm not a big fan of the Foo Fighters, but I do like the song, and it was a great song chosen for this moment. Really good scenes. Dan actually gets to hold Lily, who doesn't have a name at this point yet, but you know, the nurse sees him. She doesn't know what's going on, which is stupid though, because I'm like, you should never be able to take someone else's baby out and just hand it to someone. I don't care who the person is, unless it's like the parents. You don't need to be taking the baby out there to be held by somebody else. But anyways, she takes the baby out there. Dan holds the baby, and I think that's the last trigger that sends him in the next scene to the jail. And the episode ends with Dan walking up to the jail. You would assume to turn himself in, but the episode ends without us knowing what's going to happen. You know, Kieran's also getting worse at the end of the episode, and the final thing is while Haley's giving her speech about the Julius Caesar stuff and just everything, she starts delivering the baby, and that's the cliffhanger of the episode. And on the next episode of the Winter Hill Rewatch, I'll be talking about the season 4 finale and the final episode in the high school years of One Tree Hill. Before we do that 4.5-year time jump to season 5, following that episode, I'll also be doing another episode where I talk about me and Ethan both will be talking about our favorite moments, episodes, characters, what have you, of the high school years of the show. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.